Okay, so I am thrilled to have our two panelists today with us. First, we have Samilys Rodriguez. Samilys is an equity and inclusion professional and advocate for small, woman, or minority-owned businesses and workforce diversity. She has facilitated access and opportunities for underrepresented businesses and workers in the construction industry, integrating inclusive supplier sourcing strategies and workforce diversity practices. Samilys serves on the advisory board for Stacks and Jewels and the Blue Hill Observatory and Science Center Advisory Council. She is a first-generation child of Dominican immigrants raised in Lawrence, MA, and holds a professional certificate in diversity and inclusion for human resources from Cornell University. Samilys, we're so excited to have you with us. All right. Next, we have James Robert Foster, or JR. JR is a renowned entrepreneur and co-founder of RLG, a successful minority-owned commercial real estate company with over 90 million in revenue in less than 10 years. He also has served as a managing partner at the Lehman Brothers in Cincinnati and addressed Congress on behalf of small businesses and access to capital. JR serves on multiple boards and has been recognized as a top 10 minority-owned company in Cincinnati for 2021 and 2022, as well as an influential leader in 2019. So great to have you here, JR.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into our content today. So JR, I'd actually love to start with you. What inspired you to pursue your minority certification for your business, and what benefits have you seen?
Yes, Brittany, thank you. And good afternoon, everyone, wherever you're calling in from. Since we are one of the only owned commercial real estate companies in the country, the certification route was prime pickings for us. We knew that there were a lot of corporations, whether it be P&G, Fifth Third, US Bank, you name the organization, that were looking to leverage minorities who had certain certifications within the commercial real estate field, but there were a lack of commercial real estate companies out there. We saw it as a benefit for us to go after our minority certification so that we could, leverage not only the certification, but also what companies like Fifth Third was trying to do, which was raise the awareness and participation of minorities across their different platforms. And so for us, it's been a great calling card for us. It doesn't always get you the business, but at least get you in the room. So that is the result that we have seen. It has gotten us in the room with folks like Robert and other, strong corporate partners who are looking to, in our case, bring on a corporate commercial real estate brokerage firm in order to, grow their minority spend within our industry. So for us, it's really gotten us into a lot of rooms, had a lot of great conversations, and then later down the road, those result in business. So for us, to the tune of 90 million, it has really helped us grow over the past 10 years.
Wow, that's so great. And I love what you said about just getting you in the room, especially since that's where a lot of big decisions are made, and just being there can change kind of the trajectory of your business and your business. So thank you so much. And Samilys, I'd love to kick it to you and ask from your perspective, what you see in your business, why folks are inspired to pursue minority certification, and what benefits have you seen as a result of that?
Hi, Brittany. Thanks so much for having me here today with you all. To piggyback on JR's comment, getting in the room is definitely the key driver behind certification. It really facilitates connections to various stakeholders that present contracting and networking opportunities as well. There are a number of different diverse-owned business certifications out there beyond minority business enterprise, MBE. There is WBE, which is women's business enterprise, for example. I work for WBENC New England, which processes WBE certification for New England-based businesses, and it's a national certification that's recognized throughout the 50 states and the territories. So it's a really wonderful tool to be able to use your diverse identity as a competitive advantage in the market. Supplier diversity programs were created, started in the public sector, but now have moved into the private sector as well, as a way to address systemic exclusion, right, from participating in economic markets. So some of these groups, as we've seen in the past, women, people of color, have been systemically and intentionally excluded from competitive participation in the market. So these programs have been instituted as a way to help address some of that, as well as the wealth gap that's been created as a result. So when you pursue minority certifications or diverse-owned business certifications, it's really an opportunity to gain access not just to contracting to the buyers and the stakeholders, but also to a community of business owners like yourselves that are kind of, going through the same kind of experience in the market in that sense.
Amazing. Thank you so much for kind of developing out like the scope of why it's beneficial and what it does for society as a whole, but specifically what it can do for your business as a small business owner. I love that. Okay, so Samilys, I'd love to start with you again for this one. So what strategies have you found most effective when it comes to folks wanting to leverage their certification to access new opportunities and build relationships?
Yeah, I love this question because usually it's where a lot of people get stuck that have become newly certified or perhaps are a little bit apprehensive about getting certified, because then it's like, okay, I'm certified, now what? And the first thing I advise new business owners on is really understanding how the search is being done for your goods and services. And so to that end, you want to be able to make your business be found more easily. So that means really, adding your business profile to different supplier portals, looking to make sure that your SAM profile is updated, for example. So any vendor profile that you have out there, make sure that it's current and updated. And also make sure that you're using your logos. If you are certified, your WBE logo comes as part of your certification. So you have access to media assets to put on digital assets or paper marketing material, so that the world understands on if you produce goods or products or services, that they understand that this is coming from a minority-owned business or a woman-owned business. And then also to that end, with your profile, make sure that you're using your keywords, right? So that you're understanding for your industry, what are the keywords that are going to talk to buyers? What are the buzzwords? Do you know the NAICS codes or the industry codes that pertain to your specific selection of goods and services? And then lastly, I would say really understand what the buyers are looking for, whether they're public agencies or institutions or private entities. Understand what they're buying, right? How much, how often, who are the actual procurement folks within the organization? And most importantly, are there any goals or requirements associated with purchases or procurement for businesses in your category. So in the state of Massachusetts, right, we want to know, are there state goals that require a certain amount of minority-owned business participation or woman-owned business participation? And that will really help you find out where, again, kind of following the money trail, finding out where the purchasing is happening. That's really, really going to be important.
Ooh, there's so many great pieces of advice in there. But especially what I really clung to is using those logos, because as a just working for AOF, we've often looked for businesses that fit certain requirements for opportunities, either educational or grant opportunities. And having that logo is so key. It just helps us know right off the bat, like, this is an opportunity that this person would fit into. So many tons of great nuggets, but definitely just setting yourself up and then utilizing. And JR, same question for you from your experience. How have you found, or what have you found most effective for leveraging your certification for relationship building and new opportunities?
Yeah, there was so many great nuggets that were just shared with you, you all. So I would first say that we've been able to do, in what I think you should do as a new certification holder, or if you're prior to getting a certification, and then as you progress through your years of having one, is network. I mean, I'll lean on that word more than anything. There's so many great networking opportunities. She also mentioned in the previous question the community. So from a networking perspective, whether your certification is MSDC, the National Minority Supplier Diversity Certification, whether it's within your state, it's getting out to the various events. Like, for example, in the state of Ohio, they hold a lot of different events where you can get in front of corporate and municipality and government entities, where they have the key stakeholders there, and you can have direct conversations with them. I also say for folks to do their homework prior to going to these networking events. Know who's going to be there, know what their targets are. A lot of corporations have certain targets for the year. So that target might be a percentage of spend. It could be, for example, it could be a percentage of revenue, right? We want to spend $1 billion with minority and women-owned companies over the next year. And how are you going to help them get to that number or get to that percentage? We are very focused on understanding those network nuggets before I approach, or my team approaches, an event. So if you know that the director of supplier diversity of Fifth Third is going to be at an event, then you should know what he or she's major strategies and targets and criteria are for that next year's minority and women-owned spend. So that would be the first thing. And then the second thing, going back to the community, start leveraging the community of other MBEs and WMBEs within your area and nationally, because they can be a wealth of information. If you talk to someone that's been in business for 10 years, they've already approached the different hurdles that you're going to get ready to embark upon. So, try to your best to eliminate those hurdles and get as many nuggets from those tenured folks as possible, but also leverage your peer group, right? The folks that are just now getting their certification, because they're going to be pursuing different companies. They might hear of another company that's looking for your exact industry spend or your exact industry good or service, and they can be another great gateway into, hey, call this person at this company. I just spoke to them, and they just mentioned in the conversation that they're looking for floor cleaning or whatever it might be. So that would be the two things that I would say most. But for us, what we've done is we've approached it from a standpoint of understanding where there are gaps within corporations, government entities, or municipalities that we're trying to approach. And then when I am going after, or my team is going after different conversations or different introductions, we are really hitting those nuggets in those conversations, or sending a pre-email explaining on who we are, what we do, so that we do have a really fruitful conversation when we're in front of that person.
Ooh, that's such an excellent point. Before you get into those events, just covering your ground and knowing who's going to be there and what they need, so you can speak directly to that. That's so key. And just as a reminder, everyone, I definitely am seeing your questions in the chat. So please continue to drop those in there. We're going to have a live Q&A at the end. So, all right. So I want to move forward, and Samilys, I would love to have you speak on this. How can businesses adapt their strategy over time to take advantage of the new opportunities and overcome challenges?
Yeah, this is a great question, and it's really salient because we're just coming out of the pandemic recently, and a lot of businesses were in this position exactly where they really needed to stop and pivot and figure out, okay, what are the current needs and how can my business respond to it? And I think that businesses that were able to successfully find an answer to that question and implement that strategy were able to ride out, I will say, if not really succeed, this most recent pandemic. So it's really, these points of economic downturn are great moments to kind of stop and reassess the plan moving forward. It's also a great moment to understand, right? Usually there's a lot of government response when there's economic downturns in the market. So we want to look to see, okay, what are the government incentives that are being issued to help stimulate the economy again? And most recently, we can look to an example of the Inflation Reduction Act. President Biden recently signed off on that, and we've been seeing a lot of these sections come to life under that act. And what that's meaning for people, for example, under the effort to decarbonize America and really look towards clean and renewable energy, there are a lot of grants and tax credits that are being released under this piece of legislation to help not only individuals, but businesses, companies, institutions to take advantage of the economic incentives that are out there. And so it's a really good moment when things are happening like this. Sometimes, unfortunately, disaster can bring opportunity. And so it's a great time to look at your model and see, how can you adjust to better prepare your workforce. Maybe it's a time to look at upskilling your workforce, right? To be able to better position your company and be prepared for these new opportunities that are going to be coming out. In response to government contracting or public sector or private sector contracting, looking at your internal operations, right? You really need to have your internal operations running as efficiently as possible. If you've been thinking about automating some processes, maybe now's the time to do that. And then also, like JR was saying, networking. It's a great time. If business is slow, get out there, start building those relationships. JR will tell you, there's a long lead time involved with some of these relationships. So someone you may meet at a conference, 2 weeks ago, you may not be ready for a bid opportunity for another 6 months and maybe longer. So in that time, you definitely want to continue to cultivate that relationship and understand that buyer's procurement process a little bit better so that you're more prepared and ready to present your proposal when that time comes. So yeah, all in all, I would say, keep your ear to the street and try to better position your company for what's on the horizon.
Yeah, that's such great advice to just, as you mentioned, keeping your ear to the street, or just keeping an eye out on what's happening at a national level as well. Like, where are those benefits are going for your business and where you can plug into. And also absolutely just continuing to work your network and build your network. So when the opportunity does arise, you're ready. I love that. And JR, same question for you.
Yeah, I'll actually piggyback Samilys's last comment around just staying with with your contacts. And I'll give you a couple examples of that. What I mean by that is we approached Children's Hospital, which is a large, nationally, globally known hospital around the world here in Cincinnati. We approached them 7 years ago, met the supplier diversity director, presented our information, what we do in the real estate space. And at that time, we were not ready for what they were looking for. We were looking for to manage their facilities. But we stayed in contact, right? So every year I would set up a coffee and a meeting and show the supplier diversity team and the head of facility maintenance where we were, the growth within our revenue, as well as the services that we've added to complement their business. We were mindful that they wanted us to be at X and we were still at A. So every year we were trying to get closer and closer to X. And those conversations resulted in our first opportunity with Children's Hospital 2 months ago, right? It's a significant amount of business, but all of that transpired from staying in contact and keeping them abreast of, how our business has adopted and how we continue to grow within the space that they were looking to bring us on for. The second thing is, looking at adopting an adaptation of your business over the years. One example came about through COVID. When we do a lot of facility maintenance work across the country, and one way we adapted our business model through COVID was there were a lot of folks concerned, not only in the medical space, but high touch spaces where COVID might spread more rapidly. We were able to now adopt a new service in which we provided kind of medical cleaning as well as zero net sprays, in which it basically disinfected an entire facility in under 20 minutes. And so we never offered that service before, but we were always in the facility space. We were always doing cleaning, but this added another kind of arrow in our quiver that allowed companies to look at us differently. And we gained a significant amount of business by bringing that particular service to the table when our clients needed it the most. And we did so through partnership, and we did so through knowing folks in our community that provided that service, and we were a conduit to that opportunity. But I think as you're looking and I'm going to approach it from a business perspective, we are constantly thinking about what is going on within our space that we provide service, and where can we provide better processes, better alignment with our clients, but also improve their efficiencies. It's all about providing value to your client. So as you adapt your business model and your processes, think of it from the mindset of how is it going to provide value add to your client. Every time you add value add, and especially if it's a cost reduction, their ears are going to perk up, and you're going to be as someone that's bringing solutions to the table versus someone that is just another line item on their budget. So that's what we try to do. We try to adapt by bringing our clients different solutions that they are looking to provide over the next kind of 3 to 5 years. And we want to be the front runners in that solution, in the solution that we provide.
Amazing. I love that story too, about how you really kind of nurtured that relationship. And congratulations on the new opportunity with the Children's Hospital. That's really exciting, but it really does show how that work kind of comes to fruition, and the idea of having that business that you want to work with in the future, that organization, and constantly working towards their goal is a great way to have these opportunities. So that's really cool. Okay, so there have been some questions about this in the chat as well, just about leveraging your opportunities with other certified businesses. So Samilys, I'd love to start with you to just talk about how you can do that, how you can work with other certified businesses to access new opportunities and grow.
Yeah, no, I love this question. These are all great questions. And this is one that we see often as well, especially from diverse-owned businesses that have already scaled up a little bit and want to continue encouraging the network of other similarly situated vendors and suppliers. I was at the WBENC National Conference just a couple of weeks ago in Nashville, and we had some of our corporates and WBE members present. And one of our WBEs who has scaled up a bit, she was actually, just in conversation with us in a group, and we had another WBE present who was actually looking for a packaging manufacturer. And so in that conversation, they were able to actually connect further, and now they're exploring contracting opportunities with each other. And so being in that network of WBENC certified WBEs at this conference, just in conversation, there was an opportunity to work with another diverse owned business. And so we see that quite a bit. The other area we see this a lot in, and this is why understanding your industry and related and associated industries is important, is because of the vertical opportunities that are present. So whether you're procuring goods or services yourself, and you need other vendors to provide that for you, understanding how to find them is really important. So if you are in construction, for example, and you are an HVAC contractor, and you have sub-trades that you work with in order to complete a certain scope of work, these sub-trades, right, you would need to know how to find them in databases, whether they're public databases or databases that you have access to as a result of your certification network. The idea is that you have the scope of the keywords that you're looking for in order to find the appropriate sub-trades that you need, for example. And so and the same thing goes with suppliers, right? If you own a retail store, and you want to know what kind of what businesses are in the local area that supply, let's say, whatever goods and services your business may need, they can be found through searching with valuable and important keywords. And then the other thing I would say in terms of leveraging relationships, it really comes into play when you're pursuing government contracting, especially. There are set aside opportunities that exist, and when you partner with other certified businesses, it can actually increase the odds that it will be a set aside project, or that it will be available for bid to diverse owned businesses. So there's a lot of strategies when it comes to bid pursuit, subcontracting, joint ventures, other teaming agreements. It's really a high value area, but I would say definitely you would need a team involved with that, a lawyer definitely involved with those options, because it is high risk, but it is high value.
So many good pieces of info in there for sure, and just how there are so many different ways that you can benefit from working with other certified businesses. And JR, same question for you. How have you leveraged certified minority-owned businesses and your relationships with them to provide new opportunities and grow your business?
Yeah, I absolutely love this question. Excited to see this one pop across. This is part of our secret sauce. We have, and I'll give you a couple examples, but within what we do, and just give a quick explanation of that, we are a corporate real estate firm. And so what that means is we help small to medium-sized and large corporations find space for their business, and so we're the corporate real estate agents for companies, whether they're looking to buy, sell, or lease a building. We're there to kind of be their agent and help them find the space. And on the flip side, if they buy a building, we then help them with the long-term facility maintenance and management of that space. I say all that to say that the MBE and WMB world is our target market. So I'm always leveraging relationships with folks like those that are on this call, because everyone needs to find space for their business. So whether you're looking to lease, buy, or sell a building, we are always talking to other MBEs that are in search of new space. And so for us, it is going back to that phrase, it's a calling card to be able to, share our services, share what we do, and help that fellow MBE or WMBE find their next home. And so for us, it is a great leveraging tool to work with other MBEs and WMBEs. The second thing is we also, within the facility management space, we pride ourselves in that 60% of our business, we outsource the work. So 60% of the work that we outsource goes to those companies that provide facility management services, whether you're an HVAC company, electrical, plumbing, handyman service company. So I'm always encouraging my team to look for the best WMBs and MBEs in whatever markets we're providing facility management services, so that we can further the dollar that is spent within our community. And so I greatly pride ourselves that we're 60%. I'm trying to get us up to 75% by the end of 2024. And then the third thing is joint ventures. And this is a great one because I love leveraging not only what we do great in the commercial real estate world, but what also other companies are doing. I'll give you an example. We have partnered with general contracting companies. We partner with other real estate companies that may be in the commercial real estate space, but maybe be in one market. And if we have a client opportunity, let's say a client wants to buy a new warehouse for their business, I'll find a fellow WMBE or MBE that's in that market, say Atlanta or DC or somewhere, and say, let's partner on this deal together. We'll bring the client, you find the space, and we'll split fees. And so I think being able to provide and have the ability to partner with other WMBEs and MBEs is critical, because now you not only bring your skill set to the table, but you double it with someone else's skill set. And in some cases, that's what's needed to win an opportunity. Maybe you're not proficient in one area, but if you bring another MBE or WMBE on, they can, bolster your services, and might even be able to bring the revenue that you need to win that opportunity. Right now, we've been blessed to be in a position with our revenue growth to now be that mentor, and we're now helping organizations that maybe need a financial partner and or service experience partner, and we go win that business together. So that's how I would say we've been able to leverage other MBEs and WMBs, but this is definitely a part of our secret sauce and how we leverage our certification.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you both for sharing just how, I don't know, it's like the circle of life. It almost seems like, where not only there is tons of support and connecting together, but also looking for certified businesses to utilize for your own work and connecting with them to work with them. There's just so many different options. So that's really great. And then, before we get into our Q&A, and there are a lot of really great questions coming in, we'd love to leave everybody with like a first step. So what's the first step a business owner can take today to leverage their minority certification for healthy, sustainable growth? And Samilys, I'd love to start with you on this one.
Yeah, I would definitely say that if you're not already using the logos and marketing assets that come with your certification, definitely start doing that. Download those, put them on your website, your printed materials, business cards, anywhere. If you're not certified, sometimes your local chambers of commerce may have developed their own sort of logo for your use. However, I would say that WBENC is a national recognized organization. NMSDC is nationally recognized. So whether you're in Ohio, Massachusetts, or Florida, these organizations with these credentials will be nationally recognized. Oftentimes there are memorandum of agreements in place with third-party certifying agencies like us, with local, state, and municipal certifying agencies. So, as well as with the federal WOSB program. So it's worthwhile, to think about that piece of it. And then also I would say create a capability statement. If you don't have that yet and you are certified, even if you're not, Definitely, it's a very useful tool to give the buyer a one-page snapshot of everything that you do and everything that you are as a business, as a diverse owned business. So I would say those two steps just really get the word out there, that let the world know that you are diverse owned, and then put it on paper in a really nice summary page.
Ooh, love that. I love just being prepared and it's like easy to find that you're certified, you're using the logos, you're prepared to chat with other business owners. That's great. And JR, same question for you. What's a good first step for business owners?
I would take it even a step back, and just say the pre-step might be before you're getting certified. There's a ton of certifications out there. And so I would really understand where your business fits inside of the different certifications. So, for example, if you're a business that goes after state and federal contracts, you may want to look at your state certification first. So, like in the state of Ohio, we have a state of Ohio certification, which allows you to do business with the state. And there's so many different government entities within the state of Ohio, and probably your state as well, which you can leverage that particular certification to win business with that state. And so, or if you're federal contracts, you could look at 8A or other different, or Edge or whatever it might be. So I would say that would be a pre-step, just understanding your business, do some research around all the different certifications that are out there, and then first go after those that are most applicable to your service or your good. And then after you get certification, however long that takes, and make sure you are Googling and calling, whether it be the Urban League or Samilys just said, or whether it's the national brands that are doing certification or WBENC. Once you know which one you want to go after, also figure out how long it takes to get that. Sometimes you have to be in business a year. Sometimes you have to have so much revenue. But once you get the certification, then I would say you need to, in that process, start making a target list of the companies or organizations you want to go after, and start making those introductions, start networking within those spaces. And that would be the first step, I would say. Get with other MBEs that are in your same space, and figure out, what you should be doing to leverage your certification within your space. So for us, we're always marketing and networking within the commercial real estate space. I'm speaking to, contractors and developers and, bankers. I'm speaking to anyone that has direct connectivity to my service. So that would be the third thing I would say as well, is leverage what we call COI, your centers of influence. So it doesn't always have to be going directly to the corporation or the government entity. You can speak to bankers, lawyers, CPAs, those that have exposure to your industry, and that can get you in the rooms with the folks that you're trying to get meetings with. Because if they're a trusted advisor of XYZ company, you're going to have an easier entree into getting business, or at least getting a conversation with that person, because their lawyer said, hey, I know this business that does X, and I think they would be a good value add for you. And that person that you're looking to do business with is now, their ears are open because you've been passed along to them from a trusted advisor. So that's what I would do if I was starting all over again: get certification, build my target list, and then start leveraging my COIs.
Love that. There's so many really good first steps in there. Absolutely. So as I'm kind of gathering all of the questions from the chat, I did want to share just that there are some brief resources for your small business, but I wanted to remind you that we are recording today's webinar, and tomorrow you're going to get even more resources in your follow-up email. You're going to get the recording. You're going to get some additional recordings that will go in deeper, like if you are kind of earlier on in your certification journey and want to figure out how to do that, how to start that process. We have a really great webinar that we did last year with Fifth Third that'll go through that. You'll also have resources that we covered today, and also if you're looking to get certified, or you've just been certified and you need a little bit more kind of one-on-one support in what to do next, there is going to be a link where you can book a free coaching session with one of our business coaches here at AOF. So all of that will be shared with you. So please just keep an eye out for that. So let's jump into the questions because there's been so many questions. First of all, I see one question that was just mentioned, and someone just had a question about COIs. So this is the only question I can answer. And you said centers of influence, right, JR?
That's correct.
Okay, so your COIs are your centers of influence, like that you're looking to network with. Okay, so a couple of questions came up about the logo. So Samilys, I'd love to send this one to you. Where will people get those logos once they become certified?
Yeah, usually once you're certified, and it depends on which organization you're certified with. For us at WBENC, we provide access to that. Once you are certified, it's in the database, the WBENC Link database. There's a section in there where you can download all of the marketing material that's associated with having that WBE certification.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you. Also, I see there's a question and a couple questions just about the different kinds of certification. So someone asks, do you encourage folks to seek local certifications and national, or is one preferred over the other? And I will start with JR for that one.
I'll go back to say it really just depends on your business and what your service is. And again, if you're just a local service business, then maybe local certification will work for you. If you're a state business, then maybe state certification works. Or if you're working and looking to work for more corporations, then try to find that national MBE or WMBE certification that corporations are looking to leverage. And so I would really go back to where is your business looking to provide services, because there's so many different certifications. Sometimes, there's city certifications, county certifications, state, federal, or just your national minority supplier diversity certifications, which allow you now to go after corporations who are looking to leverage your service, so they can count that against their spend goals. So that's how I would tackle that, really understanding where you're selling your services.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you so much. Okay, there's a lot of questions. It seems like folks are, considering it. And I think all this wonderful information has just inspired folks to pursue certification. So let's say someone is kind of at the pre-stage, which we mentioned earlier, and is just thinking about pursuing a certification. What's the first step they should take to get certified? And Samilys, I'll throw that one to you.
Yeah, so the certification process itself is an application. So no matter if you're submitting your application to a state agency that's going to certify your business, or a private third-party certifier like us, it's heavy on the documentation. So typically, they're looking for documentation that supports ownership, management, and control of the business. So if you are looking for a minority ownership certification or woman ownership, these documents are going to have to support that your business is 51% or more owned by a person that's a minority, or a person that's a woman, LGBT, disadvantaged, so on. And so that documentation list will usually be found on that certifying entity's website. So you can check out what the required documents are. Sometimes there's eligibility requirements that you have to meet as well. And a lot of the documentation goes back to, again, ownership and how is that reflected in your, it really depends on the type of entity, business entity that you have, whether it's a sole prop, LLC, S Corp, B Corp, C Corp. It really depends. If it looks at your business taxes as well, looks at things like ownership of real estate, if you have leases or mortgages. So it's a whole list of documentation, and that's really the most difficult part of the application process. Regardless of what certification you're going for, a lot of people get tripped up because they miss one document, or they miss, something in that process of gathering documentation. Financial statements are also a part of the application. So if you don't have financial statements, you won't be able to complete an application most likely. So working with technical assistance centers like Accion, like CWE, there are women's business centers throughout the country that are funded largely by the SBA. You can get help to create or update a lot of these backup documents that you're going to need for the application. So I would say, in addition to that documentation, the other piece is understanding your NAICS code. Your industry codes are going to be requested on a lot of these applications. So if you're still unsure of what that is, again, the offer that Brittany made with the consultant, they can help you figure out what your NAICS code is as a first step.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And everyone, I'll be dropping that link in the chat in just a second, but you'll also get it emailed tomorrow. And I do just want to reference once again this really great webinar that we did on getting certified with Fifth Third Bank last year. It'll have a lot of really great resources and steps. I see some questions just about the documentation. I would really recommend taking a look at that. And then it'll also give you some sources on where you can go if you have questions. But I will drop that coaching link in the chat in just a second. There's another question here that asks if someone receives their certification for a company, can they use, for one of their companies, I should say, can they use it for the other companies they own? So basically, is certification kind of an umbrella for all the companies that you own?
No, unfortunately, it's not.
Okay, so you'll have to pursue certifications for each individual business. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, the next question is about the contacts. So we spent so much time kind of really digging into how you can leverage other certified businesses, but a lot of people are wondering where they can go to find like a database or a website for other businesses. Is there anything like that you would recommend where someone can go to find contacts? And I will start off with Samilys on that one.
Yeah, there's quite a few places that you can go to find contacts. I would go back to, you know, kind of JR's and my kind of focus on community and networking. The best contacts happen through word of mouth and personal connections. That's definitely a really great place to start. Also, when you're certified, you become part of the network and you get opportunities that some of the corporate members may be looking for. We just got a request from Amazon who they're looking for diverse suppliers in various categories for opportunities that are available, you know, through the end of the month. So we'll be doing some targeted outreach to businesses in the categories they pointed out to, so that our members are aware and can pursue them if they'd like. So that's another way of finding out about opportunities. Also, some states have public databases. The state of Massachusetts has one that's called Combis, and that's where the state puts up its public bidding opportunities. The city of Boston also has its own. So unfortunately, a lot of these databases are fragmented. They are siloed and they often don't speak with each other. Also, sam.gov is the federal opportunity database. That's definitely a good resource. And then there's private databases where you can get subscriptions and, you know, basically pay for the service to send you the types of opportunities that you would like to see. So there's definitely, and that's kind of why I was honing in on the keywords and your NAICS code, because a lot of this searching happens, you know, again, in a very, it's got to happen quickly. Usually procurement, you know, it's something that people want to get through pretty quickly. It's not something that they want to drag out. So having that that ability to go into a database, search efficiently, and have the appropriate results populate is a big part of this exercise.
Thank you so much. And thank you for just calling out that, you know, it will probably be in different places for different folks, and just really doing that search. And like you mentioned, calling back to JR and finding, you know, where are you looking to grow? What places are you looking to expand your business? And then looking where that list might be there. Okay, I see so many questions about capital and discovering more about how the certification can benefit your business. Unfortunately, we are so close to time, so I have dropped in the link, or in the chat, a link to our free coaching session. That is a really great resource for you to get one-on-one support. So I really encourage you to do that. I just want to thank our presenters, Samilys and JR. I want to thank our partners, Fifth Third, for partnering with us on another wonderful webinar. And thank you, everyone, and have a great day.